All right, number 21, a decrease in the quantity of labor demanded will occur if. This question I find a little frustrating because it's going all the way back to our supply and demand unit. I think it would be easier if I draw it, but the idea is that we have the same graph that we've been drawing where the wage rate is in the left. You have quantity of labor over here. And so the tricky part here is that in a perfectly competitive market, which this is, well, actually, don't say that, but we're going to go with it. This is the marginal factor cost. But it's really asking about the MRP, which is downward sloping, because the marginal factor cost is the supply of labor, where the marginal revenue product is the demand for labor. And we've done questions like this already, where it's talking about, like, but this one is asking about the labor demanded, meaning it's not a shift. It's saying labor demanded. So what's going to move the equilibrium point to a different point? And so if the productivity of labor decreased, that means that they produce less marginal product. And so marginal revenue product equals essentially the marginal revenue times the marginal product. Marginal revenue in this case is always just price. It's not always, but in this case, this is what we're talking about. Oh, can't see that went all that. Okay. Times price. Okay, well, there you go. I wrote too big. Anyway, long story short, if your productivity of labor decreased, that would be a shift, MRP 2. But if your productivity of labor increased, which would be great for your business, then that's MRP 3. But both of those are shifts, thus making them wrong because they're really asking what's going to be a movement. That's why they use that word demanded. So if the price of labor rose, then what's really happening is you have MFC 2. And that is going to be a movement on the MRP curve. And that's what they're talking about. It makes C correct. Alright, there's an increase in the supply of a factor used by labor. That sounds like an input price, but it really isn't talking about the demand for labor as it is derived demand. The price of a complementary factor increases is a concept we'll be getting to at a later problem set. But the short version is that the price of labor, if it rises, then it has a higher MFC, which leads to a movement on the MRP curve, which is what they are asking about.